guys, this is Corbin Hosler. I'm here with Helene Bergeot, the brand manager of Magic, here at Gen Con. So how's it been going for you?
Very good event, thank you. And what about you?
Oh, pretty good. Playing some Commander, playing some Magic, talking to some great people here, doing some interviews, and watching Magic, because that's the best part with the World Cup going on.
Oh yeah, very exciting event so far. I'm very pleased.
So how's the Cup been going? It seems like it's pretty popular.
It's the level of response that we got from the players, both the ones participating here and what we have seen online is amazing. It's exactly what we were shooting for, just like getting that level of engagement, having players in Puerto Rico, in Uruguay, wherever they are, just like rooting for their teams, and also to see that team play really happen, where it's not about you as a player, but you just like bonding with other players and just like trying to be the best. And we have so many great stories. Since
there definitely have been some great stories.
And it's just like it's what we were just like trying to accomplish. So seeing that the players are behind, it's amazing. It's great.
The national pride aspect. I've seen somebody walking around wearing a flag on his back because it really have the national pride thing going on with all the different countries. And with the old worlds, there was the Pro Tour going on, so it sometimes didn't get lost in the shuffle necessarily, but it wasn't the focus. How exciting is this for you guys to see it here and see it be so successful, and knowing you're gonna be able to continue doing it years down the road?
It's more than encouraging, because for years we were making some tweaks towards for the reason that you have described. Actually, it's just like it was a very hybrid with individual competition, team competition. You probably remember that it used to be one additional day dedicated to team play, and it was horrible because nobody cared. And even some of the players who were part of the national team, we realized that was mainly important to them was more like their individual results compared to the team just like results. And this is why we were just saying it's time to really try to change that, because we are trying to do too many things at the same time and we are not doing it the right way. So
less is more, it turns out.
Yes, less is more. And this is why divorcing both aspects of the game, having on one end the player championship, which is meant to crown the best player, because we want to have one player where everybody is behind, say, yes, he deserves to have the title of the best player. So this is what the player championship does, and looking a very different way to build, a team competition. The team competition is like, the goals. There are multiple goals behind. First off, it's just like the ability for players in a lot of markets, a lot of countries, to get access to the big stage. How many of these players ever went to a competition at that level? So it's super inspiring. So that's one. So then we want to promote team play, because team play is so important. It's one of the aspects of Magic that not all players are necessarily very well aware of, and that's what you are seeing here. Just like how you can get better by working, working hard with others, and that's amazing, because just again, it's not about you, but just how you can altogether get better. And then it's also just about feeling that. Your game is, when you play Magic, it's part of this bigger thing, because it gives so much more sense to Magic when we see 71 teams than just
truly a global game.
Yeah, truly a global game, and it's something that is important for players to realize. Say, hey, I'm playing mainly, Magic as my local store, F&M here and there, some freebies, but actually I'm part of something way bigger than me. And that's the illustration of all these components that we want to get there.
And I think it's turned out really well, because even the players on the teams that have been eliminated from competition on day 2, they're still right there over the shoulder of their teammates, just as invested as they are.
Oh, even sometimes more invested. No, it's this ownership is really what we were striving for, but it doesn't mean anything if it's only us. If the players are behind, this is what matters. So it's amazing. And well, everybody has heard by now about the story of the Japanese team. And so I was talking about that story in the exhibition hall, where people are not necessarily about Magic. And they were saying, but why did they do that? That doesn't make sense. And were they expecting to get back their money? Say, you don't understand. they are here to represent Japan.
Right.
It was so important for them to just make it, because it's not about them, it's about all their fans also that are behind the team and say, can you imagine the World Magic Cup without Magic? Without Japan, sorry?
Without Japan, exactly. And if anyone doesn't know the story, what happened was the Japanese team flew into DC last night, or 2 nights ago, and were unable to make their connecting flight. And they weren't able to get a car, the buses weren't running, so they actually had to take a taxi from DC to Indianapolis.
Yeah,
but
a 10-hour drive.
yeah. But like you say, it means that much to them to be here. And it means, like you say, it also means that much to Magic to have the Japanese team here, because it's hard to have a world's competition and not have one of the best countries in the world participating.
Yeah.
So
because the team who is going to win tomorrow, all their success is meaningful because of also how good the competition has been.
Right.
If you just win against, there were 5 random people being here, it's not the same as playing against the best prepared teams from all over the world. So that's great.
And it also dovetailed nicely with having more focus on the national aspect of it, with the expanded coverage, so that the people back in those countries, those smaller countries that maybe don't see as much coverage usually, really can follow their own team all the way through. And we have some smaller countries who typically aren't at the top of the scene doing very well this weekend. So
yeah, and we also have on our coverage page, Coverage Live, which is a very nice way to interact with the people around there, and so that when they ask questions, say, how is my team doing? Because there is so much happening. It's true that it's very difficult to capture, every single game, every single match, every single story, the video coverage. So this, how we're also trying to have these these connections with all the fans that are rooting for their teams.
Right. So one of the other aspects of connecting with people is Twitter, and I know you use Twitter quite a bit to talk to, to talk to people with questions. You're very open on there when people want to know what's going on. How important is that transparency, or just that connecting to the audience directly like that?
It's connecting with our audience is something which is important to all of us as a company. Because we want the game to be the game of the players. Yeah. If again players are not behind, it's not where we can expect a lot of success. And it's the game has been growing so much over the past years. Right. So that having ways of getting feedback, getting a sense about what is happening is very, very important. And it happens that Twitter just is one of the
one of the many ways.
Yeah, one of the many ways. It's not the only one, and of course, it's not the same as a survey or we know that it's anecdotal feedback. Right. It's a thing that you hear, but we get very, very good thoughts, very good ideas from all over the world. I would love a little bit more international, by the way, but so sometimes I'm getting contacts from players who are not in the US or English speaking, but it gives a sense about what players also are interested in. I have to admit that sometimes I didn't even realize that players were interested by why did you do that, why did you do that. So but of course we are more than happy to answer if we realize that you have an interest in that. It's true that if you don't understand what we are trying to do, it becomes difficult for everybody. So being transparent at that level is extremely important.
Yeah, and I think it really comes across well to the players. When they do get that feedback, when you tweet at somebody or when Aaron Forsyth tweets at somebody and really gives some honest answers, it really builds a trust between the company and the player base, which is hugely important, obviously.
This is what I'm trying to do, so thank you.
Along those lines, organized play has gone through a lot of changes in the last year, and some of them when they came out weren't popular, and some other aspects were. How did you guys as a company handle that, processing that feedback and adjusting the plans to really fit what the players wanted and what they needed?
So your question is a very intense one, so I will try to just articulate step by step. First off, we were really trying to get a very good sense of different groups of players, not to be looking only a small group of players, because the difficulty is that there is not one type of Magic player. There are tons of people who enjoy different things, and because the game has been growing that much. So the danger would have been to listen only to a small part of our audience, because then we don't get the big picture.
Right.
So stepping back for a while was very important, and try to go everywhere where the feedback has been shared. And we live in the community where people tend to be vocal, so we got that feedback. That feedback was there. So it was all about, really like fishing for information, and we have been sharing a lot the different articles that were written.
Right.
But it goes beyond the articles. There was also this Facebook group that was run by Dara from the European part of the world. So all the places where we could just like understand what really mattered to the players. And then we have processed. We had tons of meetings. That was interesting. No, but we have a good team because we have people coming from different horizons. So it helps, getting some, different ways of approaching a given goal. And then, we process that feedback, we analyze, we try to understand what were the most important things that were important for players, and try to match them with what we were trying to do.
Right. It's hard because you have obviously the vocal minority of players who are very loud, and you also have millions of Magic players who maybe aren't going to send feedback, but you still have to keep their needs in mind when designing the system.
And that's why we also had that feedback mailbox for a while, just to say, okay, we have heard from a part of our players, but if you are not somebody who has been writing an article or posting something on the Facebook page, you can just give your feedback directly with that mailbox. So that was the additional step that helped us try to capture a little bit more the thoughts of the community. And then we came up, we just say, okay, let's do it. We have a good understanding about what's happening. We can match that with what we're trying to do. So let's look at the best way of looking for solutions.
Yeah, and I think, at least from my perspective, not like you said, not everyone's happy with the changes, but I don't think I've met anyone who said that you guys didn't listen to them and didn't take what the players wanted into mind when designing the system, which I think is all you can really ask from any company. So it seems like this event's gone really well, and it'll be moving overseas next year to kind of spread it around, and it seems like organized play is headed for a bright future as the game grows. Is that something you agree with?
Oh, it's just like I've been around for a long time, but seeing where we are today as a game, and as the number of events is growing every week, everywhere, all different levels. You have more people playing FNM, more people engaged in the praise, having fun. And I know that there is a lot of anticipation for the return to Ravnica events. It's very rewarding. It's very great, and especially because I felt that we are in the right direction by creating these local hubs where you can, as a player, relate to other players who are looking for the same things as you do, and then through what we are adding as a company by bringing larger events such as all the Grand Prix that we are running across the world, this aspiration with the Pro Tour and the World. So I think that we have an interesting mix. Of course, we always need to keep an eye on how things are working, because we need constantly to tweak and monitor, so that we are also reflecting the way the game is evolving, and the way the players also are changing, because sometimes they want entirely different things. I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, great. All right, well, Helene, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it, and I'll let you, get back to Gen Con and enjoy the rest of the